Hey everyone in Embracing Health. It's late, but I was just reading through some of the Facebook posts, and I thought I have to share some stuff about what's really going on right now on the planet and how intense it is. Because when we don't have a clue about what we're moving through, it's like unthinkable to go through it. We get disoriented, and it can actually disconnect us because we're so thrown off and so spun out. And when we know what's going on, it helps so much because it assists our willingness to go through it. And just that little bit of opening from being willing to experience what we're experiencing makes it a smoother ride. So I had, it was a couple days ago, and I was actually feeling a lot of really intense energies, and I was in so much fluidity that it was great. It was kind of like being high, like super extreme, and I was like, whoa, okay, I can feel the speed of like this speeding up, how intense things are. And I know when that happens that sometimes it's like there's a crash waiting to happen. And I was like, all right, I'm willing to ride out these intense energies, and I'm really feeling great. And I know however this is going to go, that I still carry some resistances. And so the more in the last couple of years that I've had that kind of experience, I'll just be like, all right, and I'm willing to move through whatever that looks like, even though I don't like it. So I talked to like my two best friends in the world right back to back. And I don't like chat with them on the phone that often. So it was kind of funny that both of them back to back. And then I picked up our dog. So actually, I picked up our dog in between the two conversations. One was on the way to the dog, one was on the way back. And picking up the dog was like a very significant thing for me, for everything that brings up in me. Both of my friends were going through something really, really intense, and both of them reached out within like an hour of each other to connect with me. So that was kind of interesting too. They don't even know each other. And so I was really there in the energies with each of them. Like, yep, I totally appreciate the intensity of everything that's coming up. And I was feeling really good, but I was aware of, wow, this is really fast. And it was like after those two conversations, and here I have the dog, that things got a little glitchy for me. And it was really hard. It was really dense and really like, oh, this is so uncomfortable. And I went that night to my neighbor's party. So I drove up with my other neighbor. We drove all the way up the hill, which we're neighbors, but it takes like 10 minutes to get up to the other neighbor's house because everyone owns like 40 acres. So you're driving all the way up the mountain to get to our other neighbor's house. So on the way up, she was expressing all the stuff that was going on with her. And I could feel the heaviness she was in. And I was like, all right, Teresa, you know what? I've had a lot of stuff coming up too. And what would it take for us to just be in the lightness and ease of all of this? And so we got out of the car, and I literally just like had to shake off my body and did this whole like shaking thing. And she was like laughing, and I'm like, yeah, this is so uncomfortable. I really want to shake it off and just go in the party and have a great time. So before we walked in, I set an intention for both of us that, we move into ease, that we move into through what's coming up, and allow ourselves to just totally embrace it and have an awesome night. And it was still such a hard time, and like even more came up because I was talking with other people and like bumping off all their energies, and it was like quite a nightmare when I got home at the end of the night. And I was so spun out, like more spun out than I can ever remember being in a long time. And all this stuff came up with my husband, and then I was voicing with him, and it was like hell. So the next day, but I moved through it very, very fluidly. Like, it was amazing how fluidly I moved through it. Just really uncomfortable. And so the next day I had a long talk with him, and it took like hours before we could even have that talk. And he was moving through so much as well. And it was really profound when we talked and shared, and he was able to receive me and everything that was coming up for me around how I was seeing him and what I was thinking of him and what was coming up for me relative to him. And he just held the space for all of that, which really, really helped. Kind of energy kept dissipating. And I even called my homeopath and was like, oh my God, should I repeat my dose? What the heck is going on? And he said, Kim, let it kind of equilibrate. You're going to go through ups and downs as you're on this ascension into a higher space. And it always really helps me to have someone to touch base with on that I can't always see what's going on for me when I'm in it, but to have someone I believe in that is at a high frequency and someone I really can rely on and trust is so valuable. And so I still didn't feel great, but it kind of started to make me feel a little more aware of it's okay to move through what I'm moving through. And so by the next day, and I still was like, I don't know if he's right about this or not. I feel like something is just way off. But I actually did move out of it within the next day. And I moved into such an amazing, amazing space. But the way I did it was through being willing to know that this is all stuff that's purging. And my one friend, one of the two friends I talked to that night, said, wow, and I just shared with her what was going on, how intense it was. She's like, wow, I'm sorry, this is like so huge for you, and wow, everything that's moving out. And I was thinking back, like, yeah, just imagine what's possible now. Imagine what is in store that's coming in. And for me, that's always my go-to, is like, no matter what hell I feel like I'm going through, I find the willingness to move through it, even just 2% more fully, by realizing, like, wow, just imagine what this is making space for. I know how much more I'm ready to let in. I know how much more I am so excited to receive. And just imagine what this is making space for. So sometimes when we're in the midst of it, it's kind of, this can't be anything good. But just allow that, like, 2% of willingness, like, all right, I'm willing to let this baby come through the birth canal and allow something really beautiful to be born that wasn't possible before. So anyway, I read one of the posts and I was like, oh gosh, I almost feel like I'm delayed in sending this message, because it's like, oh, I've been aware of the very, very intense energies. And so I wanted to reach out to share that with the group, because I know a lot of things can come up really intensely and you're not alone. And so I think I'll even post this in the Mind Body community, because I'm sure everyone in there is feeling it too. We had a full moon last night. That has a lot to do with it. But what that will do is bring in and bring to fruition a lot of the energies that have been coming in the last month, which have been, I mean, unbelievable, huge energy portals and gateways and things like that. If you talk to anybody who's an astrological person, they'll be able to fill you in more specifically on that. But wow. So, hold on to your horses kind of thing, and just know that there's just stuff clearing. It doesn't mean anything. And as Greg, my homeopathic guy, always tells me, don't believe anything you think right now. Kim, it's okay to go through what you're going through, but just know it's not real. And so that always really grounds me a lot. All right, sharing so much compassion with you and lots of love, and I'll see you soon.